My mom's been on my case about finding someone to bring home, even pushing me to see a fortune teller. When I sent over my birth date, the reply came back. Your future partner is a 6 feet 2 inches, 21-year-old guy, 9, named Shepard, with a mole by his left eye. Hold up, master, I'm a guy. And why does this description sound exactly like my roommate? 6 feet 2 inches, 21, Shepard, even the mole checks out. Just one last detail to verify, 9. To confirm, I snuck over at midnight to peek under his sweatpants, only to get flipped over and pinned down. Turns out, there's another way to measure. Chapter 1, Mom's Nagging and a Seed of Doubt. I'm only 21, but my mom's already breathing down my neck about settling down. For the past week, she's been blowing up my phone with the same question. Landon, when are you bringing someone home? She asked again this morning, her voice crackling through my earbuds as I sprawled across my dorm bed. Mom, I'm still figuring things out, I groaned, tossing a stress ball at the ceiling. It missed and thumped onto the floor. I'm like a kid still. A kid? Sage, you're old enough to have someone special. She shot back. No girls catch your eye? Nope, no girls. I caught the ball on its next bounce, squeezing it hard. There was a pause, then her voice softened, like she was about to drop a bombshell. What about guys? Guys are fine too, you know? I nearly choked on my own spit. Mom, you can't just say that like it's nothing. She laughed, undeterred. Oh, come on, Landon. I'm not stuck in the Stone Age. If there's no girl you like, maybe there's a guy? You gotta be open to love, honey. Her words hit me like a curveball. I'd never really thought about it, my orientation, growing up, my buddies were always drooling over cheerleaders or posting thirst traps on socials. But me? Nada. No spark, no butterflies, not for anyone. Girls, guys didn't matter. I just didn't feel it. Am I broken or something? I muttered under my breath, half hoping Mom wouldn't hear. Landon, you still there? Her voice snapped me back. Yeah, I'm here. I glanced out the dorm window to the balcony, where Colton Shepard, my roommate, was scrubbing one of my hoodies in a bucket. His sleeves were rolled up, biceps flexing with each scrub, veins popping under his skin. His white tee was soaked, clinging to his chest like it was painted on. My throat went dry. Why the hell was I staring? Landon, listen. Mom went on, oblivious to my brain short-circuiting. Isn't there a guy at school who's always got your back? You know, brings you food, looks out for you, maybe even does your laundry? Someone who's always around, making sure you're okay. I froze. The scrub of Colton's washing echoed from the balcony. He'd insisted on cleaning my hoodie after spilling soda on it at lunch. Said it was his fault, so he'd handle it. I glanced at the desk, where a bag of my favorite chips and a takeout container of tacos, my go-to order, sat, courtesy of Colton. Mom, there's no one like that. I lied, switching to a hushed tone, like Colton might overhear from 20 feet away. She sighed, long and dramatic. You're hopeless, kid. If there's someone like that, you better not let him slip away. Guys who care like that, they're keepers. Give it a shot, see where it goes. Make your mom happy, huh? Colton turned just then, catching me staring. His hazel eyes locked on mine, and he grinned, wiping sweat off his forehead with the back of his hand. I jerked my gaze to the floor, heart doing a weird flip. Mom, I gotta go. Think about it, Landon, she called before I hung up. I tossed my phone onto the bed, rubbing my face. What was that about? My mom, playing matchmaker for me with a dude? And why did her description fit Colton to a T? The guy's always doing stuff for me. Grabbing me coffee, saving me the last slice of pizza, even folding my damn socks when I'm too lazy. But that's just Colton being Colton, right? He's just nice. Yo, Landon, you good? Colton's voice broke through my spiral. He was leaning against the balcony doorframe, drying his hands on a towel. His shirt was still damp, outlining every ridge of his abs. I swallowed hard. Yeah, fine, I mumbled, avoiding his eyes. Just Mom being Mom. He chuckled, tossing the towel onto a chair. She's still on you about finding the one? I snorted, trying to play it cool. Yeah. She's basically planning my wedding already. Colton's grin widened, and he plopped onto the couch across from me, stretching out like he owned the place. So, what's her type for you? Blonde? Brunette? Tall? Dark? And handsome? I hesitated, my brain replaying Mom's words. Someone who's always got your back. She just said, someone who's good to me. You know, brings me food, cares about me, that kind of stuff. His eyebrow quirked, and for a second, I swear his eyes lit up. Sounds like a solid dude. Anyone in mind? Nope, I said too quickly, my voice cracking like a middle schooler. I grabbed the takeout container, shoving a taco in my mouth to avoid talking. The spicy beef burned my tongue, but it was better than admitting the truth. Mom's description sounded exactly like him. Colton leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. You sure? 'Cause I'm pretty good at bringing you food. He nodded at the tacos, smirking. I choked on a chunk of lettuce, coughing like an idiot. Dude, you're my roommate. That's like your job. Job, huh? He laughed, standing up and ruffling my hair as he passed by. Guess I'm employee of the month then. His hand lingered a second too long, and my scalp tingled where his fingers brushed. I swatted him away, muttering, "Get off, man." But as he headed back to the balcony, I couldn't stop staring at the way his shoulders moved, broad and steady. My mom's voice echoed in my head. Guys who care like that? They're keepers. I shook it off, grabbing my phone to scroll through nothing in particular. No way. Colton's just a friend. A bro. A really attentive bro. That's all. But as I bit into another taco, my eyes drifted to the chips he'd bought me, the hoodie he'd washed, the way he always seemed to know what I needed before I did. My stomach did a weird twist, and it wasn't the hot sauce. Dude, you're gonna burn a hole through that bag, Colton called, catching me staring at the chips. Eat 'em already. Shut up. I shot back, tossing a chip at him. He caught it midair, popping it into his mouth with a wink. My face heated up, and I buried it in my phone, pretending to check notifications. What the hell was wrong with me? I wasn't into guys. Or was I? I'd never been into anyone, period. But the way my heart was racing, the way I couldn't stop noticing Colton's stupid grin or the stupid mole by his eye, it was freaking me out. Mom's words kept looping. Give it a shot. Yeah, right. Like I just walk up to my roommate and, what? Ask him out? Ridiculous. Still, as Colton hummed some random tune, scrubbing away at my clothes, I couldn't shake the thought. What if Mom was onto something? Chapter 2. Midnight Tangles and Unspoken Questions. Silence settled over the dorm like a heavy blanket. The usual chaos of our roommates, Austin and Brody, absent. They ditched us for an all-night gaming session at the campus arcade, leaving just me and Colton. The quiet was weird, too quiet. I sprawled on my bed, scrolling through my phone, the clock glowing 11:30 p.m. Colton was still up, messing with something at his desk, his back to me. Usually, he'd be climbing into my bed by now, all clingy like a human koala. But tonight, nothing. Yo, Colton, you coming up or what? I called, trying to sound casual. My voice cracked slightly, betraying the weird tension in my chest. Why was I even asking? It's not like I wanted him to sleep next to me, right? He turned, his hazel eyes catching the dim light from the desk lamp. Got something to say to me, Landon? His tone was teasing, but there was an edge to it, like he was fishing for something. I blinked, thrown off. Yeah, get your ass up here and sleep already. I scooted over, patting the empty spot beside me like it was no big deal. My heart did a stupid little flip as I adjusted the blanket. That's it. Colton's voice was softer now, almost disappointed. He stood, stretching, his shirt riding up just enough to show a sliver of toned stomach. I looked away, focusing on my phone like it was the most interesting thing in the world. Yup, that's it. I kept my eyes glued to a random meme, hoping he couldn't hear my pulse hammering. What was he expecting? A deep heart-to-heart? I wasn't that guy. Colton didn't move for a moment, and I could feel his stare burning into me. Finally, he sighed, climbing up to the top bunk. The mattress dipped as he slid under the covers, his arm brushing mine as he settled in. He pulled me close, like always, his chest warm against my back. So, he murmured, his breath tickling my ear. What did your mom say on the phone today? I tensed, my mind flashing back to her ridiculous matchmaking. Just the usual. Find someone, bring him home, blah blah. I tried to keep it vague, but my voice sounded shaky even to me. His hand rested on my shoulder, fingers tracing lazy circles that sent tingles down my spine. She's still pushing you to date? Yeah, I muttered, shifting to ease the itch his touch was causing. Says I need to find someone who, cares about me. Whatever that means. Colton's fingers paused, and I could have sworn I felt him tense. You believe in that stuff? Like, fate or whatever? I snorted, trying to play it cool. Fate? Nah, that's for rom-coms and old ladies. But even as I said it, my brain betrayed me, conjuring up Mom's words. Someone who's always got your back. Colton's face popped into my head, uninvited. I shoved the thought away. I dunno, maybe, if it's real, I guess. He didn't respond right away, just kept his arm around me, his thumb brushing my shoulder. The rhythm was soothing, lulling me toward sleep. My phone slipped from my hand, screen going dark as my eyes grew heavy. Somewhere between consciousness and dreams, I heard the faint tap-tap of Colton's phone, like he was texting someone. The sound blended with my mom's voice in my head, nagging from my dream. Landon, Colton's a good one. You like him, don't you? Go get him. I jolted awake, heart racing, the dream fading fast. Colton was still behind me, his breathing steady, arm draped over my waist. I turned my head slightly, catching the outline of his face in the moonlight. His left eye was hidden in shadow, but I knew that damn mole was there, taunting me. My fingers itched to trace it, to see if it was as warm as it looked. What the hell was wrong with me? I shifted, trying to shake the thought, but Colton stirred, tightening his grip. You okay? He mumbled, voice thick with sleep. Yeah, I whispered, not trusting my voice to stay steady. Just weird dream. He chuckled, low and warm. About me? Shut up, I hissed, elbowing him lightly. But my face burned, and I was glad he couldn't see it in the dark. I closed my eyes, trying to focus on anything but the way his arm felt around me, the way his breath ghosted over my neck. Morning came too fast. I woke to Colton's face inches from mine, his features sharp and unfairly perfect. His jawline could cut glass, and that damn mole by his left eye sat like a perfect punctuation mark. I stared, my brain short-circuiting as I noticed how long his lashes were, how his lips parted slightly as he breathed. My hand moved before I could stop it, fingers hovering over that mole, trembling like I was about to touch a live wire. I grazed it, just barely, the skin warm under my fingertip. His lashes fluttered, and I yanked my hand back, heart pounding like I'd just run a sprint. His eyes stayed closed, thank God, but I couldn't tear my gaze away. What was I doing? This was Colton, my roommate, my friend, not some crush. Then his eyes snapped open, catching me staring like a deer in headlights. Good looking, huh? He said, voice low and teasing, a smirk curling his lips. I choked on air, scrambling to sit up. What? No, I wasn't. My face was on fire, and I knew I looked guilty as hell. Relax, Landon, he laughed, rolling onto his back, one arm behind his head. You're cute when you're flustered. Cute, I sputtered, swinging my legs off the bed to escape. I'm not cute, dude. I'm just checking if you're alive. Sure you were. His grin was infuriating, like he knew something I didn't. He stretched, his shirt pulling tight across his chest, and I bolted for the bathroom, muttering about needing a shower. As the water hit me, I leaned against the tiles, Mom's voice echoing again. Give it a shot. Colton's mole, his arm around me, the way he looked at me. It was all too much. I wasn't into guys. I wasn't into anyone. So why couldn't I stop thinking about him? About the way he smelled like cedar and soap? Or how his laugh made my chest feel weirdly tight? I turned the water to cold, hoping it'd snap me out of it. No way was I catching feelings for my roommate. No way. Chapter 3, The Fortune Teller's Trap. Morning light streamed through the dorm window, catching the dust motes dancing in the air. I was sprawled on my bed, phone in hand, still reeling from last night's close call with Colton. My finger hovered over a message from Mom, sent at the crack of dawn. Landon, check out this fortune teller on Insta, Fate Guru. Super accurate. Your cousin swears by him. Attached was a link to a profile with a bio that screamed scam. Destiny revealed. Love guaranteed. DM for a reading. I rolled my eyes. Mom was too trusting, always falling for this mystical crap. Seriously, Mom? I muttered, typing back. This guy's probably a bot. Her reply was instant. Don't be a skeptic. Just try it. Send him your palm pics. He's legit. I groaned, rubbing my face. No way was I doing this. But Mom's persistence was like a freight train. Unstoppable. Fine. I snapped a few quick shots of my palm, sent them to Fate Guru, and tossed my phone aside. This is dumb, I said to no one, flopping back on my pillow. Colton was out grabbing breakfast, leaving the dorm quiet except for the hum of the mini-fridge. I stared at the ceiling, trying not to think about how close I'd come to touching his face last night. My phone buzzed, and I snatched it up, expecting Mom's follow-up nagging. Instead, it was Fate Guru. The message made my jaw drop. Male 21, never dated, mole on your right hip. I sat up, heart pounding. How the hell did he know about the mole? I hadn't shown that in the photos. Okay. Creepy? I whispered, typing back to Mom. This guy's freaky accurate. He even knew about my hip mole. See? Told you. Now ask about your love life, she replied with a string of heart emojis. I hesitated, then messaged Fate Guru, okay. Fine. What's my future partner like? I half expected a generic response, something like, tall and charming. But when his reply popped up, my stomach flipped. Your future partner. 6 feet 2 inches, 21, 9, surname Shepherd, mole by left eye. I stared at the screen, my pulse hammering in my ears. That was Colton. Every detail, height, age, last name, that damn mole I couldn't stop staring at. Except, 9? My brain went to the gutter, picturing Colton's smirk, his tight jeans. No way. I wasn't about to ask him to drop his pants for a measurement. But I had a ruler in my desk drawer. 15 centimeters, solid enough to check. I shook my head, laughing at myself. You're not doing this, Landon. You're not that guy. But the seed was planted, and it was growing fast. What if this was real? What if Colton was my fate? I needed to know. By midnight, the dorm was dark, Austin and Brody still out. Colton was asleep in the bunk below, his soft snores filling the silence. I crept down, clutching the ruler like it was a top-secret mission. My phone's flashlight was on its dimmest setting, casting a faint glow over Colton's sprawled form. His sweatpants rode low, and I swallowed hard, my hand shaking as I inched closer. This was insane. I was insane. Just as I leaned in, Colton stirred, and before I could bolt, he grabbed my wrist and flipped me onto the bed, pinning me under him. Landon, what the hell? His voice was low, half amused, half something else. His hazel eyes glinted in the dark, that mole taunting me from the corner of his eye. I stammered, the ruler clattering to the floor. My face burned as I tried to squirm free, but his grip was firm, his body warm and heavy against mine. Action-oriented, huh? He teased, his lips curling into a smirk. Before I could protest, he leaned down, his mouth brushing mine. The kiss was soft at first, tentative, then deeper, stealing my breath. My brain screamed to push him away, but my body had other ideas, melting into the heat of his lips. Panic surged, and I shoved at his chest, my foot connecting with his thigh in a clumsy kick. Colton, wait. I was just trying to measure. The words tumbled out before I could stop them, and I froze, horrified. He blinked, then burst out laughing, rolling off me. Measure? With a ruler? Landon, you're killing me. He sat up, rubbing his thigh where I'd kicked him. What were you measuring, exactly? I wanted to die. Nothing. Just forget it. I scrambled to my feet, grabbing the ruler like it was evidence I needed to destroy. It's dumb. Okay? I wasn't. Ugh, never mind. Colton's laughter softened, and he grabbed my wrist again, pulling me back to the bed. Hold up, you don't get to run off after that. His voice dropped, playful but serious. You were checking me out, weren't you? No, I squeaked, my voice hitting a pitch I didn't know I had. It's the stupid fortune teller Mom made me talk to. He said my future partner's got your height, your name, your everything. Except one thing I needed to verify. His eyebrow shot up, and that damn smirk was back. Verify, huh? And what's that? I groaned, burying my face in my hands. Forget it, Colton. It's stupid. He leaned closer, his breath warm against my ear. You sure? 'Cause I'm happy to help with any measurements. His tone was pure mischief, and I shoved him away, my face hotter than the sun. Shut up, jerk, I muttered, climbing back to my bunk. My heart was still racing, the memory of his lips burning in my mind. I pulled the blanket over my head, trying to block out the image of his mole, his smirk, the way he'd kissed me like it was the most natural thing in the world. As I lay there, the fortune teller's words looped in my head. 6 feet 2 inches, 21, shepherd, mole. And 9. I didn't need a ruler to know I was in deep trouble. Chapter 4. Jealousy and a stolen sip. Embarrassment clung to me like a second skin after the ruler incident, and I decided the best plan was to avoid Colton at all costs. No more shared bunk, no more late-night talks. I kept my distance, sticking to my side of the dorm, burying myself in my phone or headphones whenever he was around. But Colton? He didn't get the memo. If anything, he doubled down, his presence inescapable. He'd nudge my shoulder during breakfast, toss me a protein bar when I skipped lunch, or flash that stupid grin that made my stomach flip. It was infuriating. By Thursday, I was dodging him like a pro, but he wasn't making it easy. In psych class, he slid into the seat next to me, ignoring the empty rows around us. "Morning, Landon," he said, his voice all casual, like he hadn't pinned me to a bed and kissed me senseless a few nights ago. "Yo, there's other seats," I muttered, flipping through my textbook to avoid his eyes. That damn mole by his left I was practically winking at me. "Nah, I like this one." He leaned closer, his knee brushing mine under the desk. "Better view." I shot him a glare, but my face was already heating up. "Focus, dude. We're in class." He smirked, pulling out his notebook but not before slipping his hand under the desk to squeeze mine. "This hand enough to measure me next time?" he whispered, his breath hot against my ear. I yanked my hand back, nearly knocking my pen off the desk. "Colton, shut up," I hissed, my voice barely steady. The professor droned on about cognitive dissonance, but all I could feel was the dissonance of Colton's fingers brushing mine, his low chuckle vibrating through me. I buried my face in my book, pretending to take notes while my heart pounded. After class, I bolted, weaving through the crowded hallway to the dorm. I needed space, air, anything to clear my head. But when I got back, Austin and Brody were there, sprawled on the couch, arguing over a bag of Doritos. "Yo, Landon, you and Colton fighting or what?" Austin asked, tossing a chip in his mouth. "Nope," I said, too quickly, flopping onto my bed. "We're fine." Brody raised an eyebrow, crunching loudly. "Sure, man. You've been dodging him like he's got the plague. What's up?" "Nothing," I insisted, pulling my phone out to avoid their stares. "Just busy, right?" Austin grinned, clearly not buying it. "Well, me and Brody are out tonight. Date night with our girls. But Colton's got a basketball game and we ain't gonna make it. Here." He tossed me a crumpled ticket. "Go cheer him on. Dude's been moping without you." "I'm not his cheerleader," I grumbled, but I caught the ticket anyway. They both laughed, grabbing their stuff and heading out, leaving me alone with my thoughts. I stared at the ticket, my thumb tracing the edge. Fine, I'd go. Not because I cared, but because, well, it'd be rude not to, right? The gym was packed by the time I got there, the air thick with sweat and the squeak of sneakers. The stands were a sea of screaming fans, mostly girls waving signs with Colton's name in glitter. I slid into a seat near the back, clutching a water bottle I'd grabbed for him, then regretted instantly. He didn't need my water. He had a fan club ready to hydrate him. The game was intense, Colton dominating the court, all lean muscle and confidence. Every time he scored, the crowd erupted, girls shrieking like he was a rock star. I sank lower in my seat, sipping the water I'd meant for him. Why did I even come? He didn't need me here. Then his eyes found mine mid-game, like he'd sensed me. He grinned, winking, and my heart did a stupid somersault. The girls in front of me squealed. "Oh my God, Colton winked at me," one gushed, clutching her friend's arm. "No, it was me," her friend argued, fanning herself. I rolled my eyes, taking a swig of water. It was me, idiots. But the thought made my face burn, and I slouched further, the plastic bottle crinkling in my grip. The game ended with our team's win, and the crowd surged forward, girls swarming Colton with water bottles and adoring smiles. I stood, ready to bail, feeling like an extra in someone else's movie. Then a hand snatched the bottle from my grip. I looked up to see Colton, sweaty and grinning, chugging the water like he hadn't just been offered a dozen others. "Thanks, Landon," he said, wiping his mouth with the back of his hand. "Knew you'd come through." That's mine," I stammered, pointing at the bottle. "I drank from it." He smirked, taking another long sip, his eyes locked on mine. "Yeah, I know. Tastes better this way." His voice was low, teasing, and my brain short-circuited, replaying our kiss from the other night. The crowd was still buzzing around us, but it felt like we were alone. How'd you even get through them? I asked, nodding at the gaggle of fans still hovering nearby, some glaring at me like I'd stolen their prom date. Colton leaned in, his breath warm against my neck. Told him I've got someone I like. Said he's right here, and he'd get jealous if I took their water. My jaw dropped. I'm not jealous, I blurted way too loud. A few heads turned, and I wanted to sink into the floor. I mean, whatever, dude. Drink what you want. He laughed, tossing the empty bottle into a nearby bin. Sure, Landon. Not jealous at all. He slung an arm around my shoulder, steering me toward the exit. Come on, let's grab food. You owe me for stealing my spotlight. I didn't. I started, but his arm tightened, and I let it go, my face burning as we walked through the crowd. His words echoed in my head. Someone I like. Was he serious? Or just messing with me? Either way, my heart was racing, and the jealousy I swore I didn't feel was clawing at my chest. I needed to get a grip fast. Chapter 5, Thunder and a Steady Hand. Rain battered the dorm windows, each clap of thunder rattling my bones. I hated storms, always had. They dragged me back to nights when I was a kid, curled up in my room while Mom and Dad's shouting matched the howling wind outside. The memory of broken dishes and Mom's tear-streaked face made my chest tight. I pulled the blanket over my head, trying to block out the storm, but the next boom shook the walls, and I flinched. My phone buzzed on the nightstand, and I grabbed it, hoping for a distraction. It was Colton. Hey Landon, storm's freaking me out. Can I crash with you tonight? I stared at the text, my thumb hovering over the keyboard. Colton. Scared of thunder? That didn't add up. He was the guy who dived for a loose ball in a packed gym without blinking. But the thought of him climbing into my bunk, his warmth chasing away the cold knot in my gut, was too tempting. I'd been dodging him since the basketball game, keeping my distance to avoid whatever this was between us. Yet here I was typing back. Yeah, sure. The bunk creaked as Colton climbed up, sliding under the covers like it was the most natural thing. Thanks, man, he murmured, his voice soft in the dark. He settled behind me, his arm brushing mine, and I caught the faint scent of his cedar body wash. My heart thudded, but not from the storm. You're not actually scared, are you? I asked, keeping my voice low, like the thunder might hear me. He chuckled, his breath warm against my neck. Maybe I just wanted an excuse to be close to you. His tone was teasing, but there was something earnest underneath, and it made my stomach flip. Whatever, dude, I mumbled, pulling the blanket tighter. Another crack of thunder hit, and I tensed, my breath hitching. I hated how small it made me feel, like I was 8 again, hiding from the world. Colton's arm slid around my waist, steady and warm. Hey, you okay? His voice was softer now, no trace of his usual smirk. His hand moved to my back, rubbing slow, rhythmic circles, like he knew exactly what I needed. I swallowed, my throat tight. Yeah, just, storms suck. I didn't want to spill my guts about my parents, about the nights I'd spent listening to them tear each other apart. But Colton's touch was grounding, pulling me back from the edge of those memories. Want to talk about it? He asked, his hand never stopping its gentle motion. Nah. I shook my head, even though he couldn't see it. Just keep doing that. I regretted the words as soon as they left my mouth, but Colton didn't laugh or tease. He just tightened his hold, his fingers tracing patterns that made my skin tingle. Got you, he said. So quiet I almost missed it. The storm raged on, but with his arm around me, it felt farther away, like it couldn't touch me. I let my eyes close, focusing on the warmth of his touch, the steady rise and fall of his chest. Morning came too soon, the storm gone, leaving only a damp chill in the air. Colton was already up, probably at practice, and I felt oddly empty without him there. My phone buzzed, Mom, of course. I answered, switching to a hushed tone since Austin and Brody were still snoring in their bunks. Hey, Mom, I said, rubbing sleep from my eyes. Landon. So, what did Fate Guru say about your love life? Her voice was all excitement, like she was waiting for me to announce an engagement. I hesitated, the fortune teller's words flashing in my mind. 6 feet 2 inches, 21, shepherd, mole. And that damn 9. I still hadn't verified, though after that kiss I wasn't sure I needed to. He said some stuff. Sounds like someone I know. My voice was cagey, and I cringed at how obvious I sounded. Someone you know? Mom's tone turned sly. Like who? That roommate of yours? What's his name, Colton? Mom, chill. I groaned, my face heating up. It's just, I don't know, okay? I'm not sure what I feel. She went quiet for a second, then softened. Honey, it's okay to be confused. Just don't shut it out. If he's good to you, give it a chance. I hung up faster than I meant to, her words hitting too close to home. I flopped back on my bed, staring at the ceiling. Colton was good to me, too good. Last night, he'd held me through the storm, no questions asked, no judgment. But letting myself feel something for him, that was terrifying. My parents had been in love once, and it ended in screaming matches and a divorce that left me scared to trust anyone. What if I let Colton in, and it all fell apart? I grabbed my phone, scrolling to Fate Guru's messages. I typed, "The guy you described, I think it's my roommate. All the details match." I hit send, then regretted it instantly. What was I expecting? A cosmic green light to jump into Colton's arms? Fate Guru replied almost immediately. So, any progress with him? Does he like you? Do you like him? I stared at the screen, my fingers frozen. Did Colton like me? That kiss, the way he looked at me at the game, the way he held me last night. It all screamed yes. But me? I didn't know. My heart said one thing, but my head was a mess of fear and doubt. I typed, he might. Don't know how I feel. Then I tossed my phone aside, not wanting to see the reply. Another thunderclap echoed in my memory, and I shivered. Colton had been there, steady as a rock, when I needed him. But letting myself fall for him meant risking everything. My heart, my trust, maybe even our friendship. I wasn't sure I was brave enough for that. Not yet. Chapter 6. Grass-stained love vows. Crowds filled the campus quad, the night air buzzing with laughter and music from the annual spring fair. Colton had dragged me here, waving 2 tickets he'd scored for some epic games. His eyes glinting with mischief. I'd agreed, mostly because he wouldn't shut up about it, but now, standing in front of a booth labeled Couples Challenge, I regretted every life choice that led to this moment. The sign promised a $999 cash prize for the winners, and Colton's grin said he wasn't backing down. Colton, this is for couples, I hissed, tugging at his sleeve as he pulled me toward the booth. We're not. We got this, Landon. He cut me off, his hand warm around mine. Come on, live a little. His fingers laced through mine, and the crowd's cheers faded as my pulse kicked up. The booth worker, a guy with a man bun and a skeptical squint, glanced at our joined hands. This is for couples only, dudes. You two together. Yup, Colton said, not missing a beat, his grin unwavering. I shot him a look, but he just squeezed my hand tighter, like he was daring me to argue. The worker shrugged, pointing to a spot where 2 other guys, Austin and Brody of all people, were arguing with another staffer. Those 2 said the same thing, but they chickened out when I told him to kiss. You guys gotta prove it. My stomach dropped. Kiss, I squeaked, but Colton was already leaning in, his lips brushing mine before I could blink. The crowd erupted, some girl shrieking, "Oh my God, they're so cute." My face burned as Colton pulled back, smirking like he'd just won the lottery. Proof enough? He asked the worker, who laughed and stamped our tickets. I stood there, dazed, my lips tingling as he dragged me into the game area. Relax, Landon, he whispered, his breath tickling my ear. You didn't hate it. Shut up, I muttered, my heart hammering as we were ushered to a grassy patch where pairs sat facing each other. The rules were simple. Say something romantic to your partner, and the first to kiss the other scored the most points. My palms were sweaty as I sat across from Colton, his hazel eyes locked on mine, that damn mole catching the fairy lights strung above us. Ready? The referee called. Go! Couples around us started spouting cheesy lines. Baby, you're my forever, one girl giggled. You make my heart race, a guy said, earning a blush from his partner. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. My chest tightened, the words stuck like stones in my throat. I'd never said anything like that to anyone. Not even Mom. Not since I was a kid. The divorce had locked my feelings behind a wall, and now, with Colton staring at me, that wall felt like it was crumbling. You okay? Colton asked, his voice soft, cutting through the noise. He leaned forward, his knees brushing mine. You don't have to say anything if it's too much. I shook my head, my eyes fixed on the grass. I want to. My voice cracked, and I cursed myself for sounding so weak. I'd spent weeks dodging him, pretending I didn't feel the pull, but it was there, undeniable like gravity. I thought of the thunder, his hand on my back, the way he'd held me together when I was falling apart. I couldn't keep running. Colton, I started, my voice barely above a whisper. I forced myself to look up, meeting his gaze. I like you. The words felt like they'd been ripped out of me, raw and heavy. His eyes widened, but I kept going, the dam breaking. I've been scared, okay? My parents, they loved each other once, and it turned into a mess. Screaming, fighting, broken plates. I was 5, hiding in my room, scared to even breathe. It messed me up, made me afraid to feel anything. But you, my voice broke, and I felt hot tears prick my eyes. You make me want to try. I like you, Colton. I'm sorry I pushed you away. I'm so sorry. The crowd was gone. The world was just us. His face softening as he reached out, brushing a tear from my cheek. Landon, he said, his voice thick. You don't have to be sorry. I've been waiting for you to say it. He leaned in, kissing me, deep and slow, like he was pouring everything into it. My hands found his shoulders, clinging to him as the tears fell, mixing with the taste of him. The referee's whistle cut through, announcing us as the winners, but I barely heard it. Colton didn't pull away, and for once, I didn't want him to. Later, back at his family's house for the weekend, I showed him an old photo album. This was me at 5, I said, pointing to a picture of me on a hiking trail, a Taoist priest beside me. He said the kid next to me was my fated one. Crazy, right? Turns out it's you. I laughed, but Colton went quiet, pulling out a photo from his own album. Same trail, same day, him standing next to me. Landon, he said, his voice low. Fate guru? That was me. Your mom reached out. She knew you liked me but couldn't say it. Said you'd been hurt too much to open up. We set it up to nudge you along. I stared at him, my heart swelling. You faked it. He nodded, looking almost shy. Yeah, but I meant every moment with you. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry, so I did both, pulling him into a hug. Later, as Mom headed out for her weekly bingo night, I stopped her at the door. Mom, I said, my voice steady for the first time in years. I love you. Her eyes welled up, and she hugged me tight. I love you too, kid. Love wasn't so hard to say after all.